This is John Neal reporting for River City Sports. With me is two outstanding Blue Tornadoes as they just crowned y'all. You know, EPB Fiber Optics Holiday Hoops Tournament. Well, y'all are our player of the games. You know, Adrian Thomas Jr., Javon Craig Jr. Everybody knows Javon Craig, so let's go ahead and talk to Mr. Adrian Thomas. If you're the face of the football team, you must have just become the face of the basketball team. Now, I know you're going to tell me we have a team effort and all that, but let's talk about your performance tonight. What led to a big 67-point win, topping Central 67-54, a big 16-point effort from Mr. Adrian Thomas?
Well, we wanted it more. I wanted it more than them. So, I like competing. I just wanted it more than them. That's all I wanted to do.
And Javon there in the second half hit two big three-pointers that sparked a big 19-6 run in the fourth quarter. You know, what was that something that Coach Shulman was saying at halftime, or what really led to your efforts in the second half?
You know, it's just finding my game and finding a rhythm, playing through the system that Coach Shulman has for us. And I have a lot of opportunities to make shots, and I look first to get my teammates involved. But when the game comes to me and the ball is coming to me and I need to make big shots, I'm going to make them.
And, you know, Javon Craig beat me to the punch. He's always talking about teammates, getting teammates involved. So let's talk about those teammates. You know, I was skeptical coming in, guys. I didn't think you could play 15 dudes and be successful with it. You know, sometimes in basketball you see the best. You see the best seven play, and then you have your bench, and let's develop them in practice. Well, that's not what Coach Shulman wants, is it, Adrian?
No, we play actually 17 guys. We play them all. We live and die off that.
Play 17 guys. Well, Adrian, right back to you. What does that do for y'all?
That actually makes us create more traps, like our presses. We have more energy on the bench, so that makes us, have more traps on the court.
And Javon, Adrian talked about having some defensive traps. Y'all had pressure all night long. Is that something y'all practice every day? What is y'all's go-to trap?
We run base defense. It's a 2-2-1 press. Well, 1-2-2 press, and we can play it all the way up the floor, half court, three quarters of a court, and full court. And that's where the 17 guys come in. Everybody's conditioned, they're ready to go, and energized on the bench. So when they get in the game, they can feed off of that. And it just keeps us going as a team, and being able to come off the bench and spark your team like that, and knowing that when new guys come in, there's not going to be a difference in intensity and pressure on the ball. It's a pretty good feeling.
And let me tell you, folks, it happens. They playing 17 guys. It works. They've made it work. They've made it work. And if you haven't seen what I like to call the McCauley Militia, because you're moving them in by platoons, you need to come watch them play. But we'll move forward. I know y'all like 12-0. I know that sounds great, and and I also know you like being crowned champions. But Friday, right after Christmas, you're going to wake up, you're going to travel to Pigeon Forge and play Augusta Christian. Am I correct, Javon? Tell me about you're going to take a break tomorrow. You're going to get some shots up, and then you wait for Christmas Eve, or what are y'all going to do to get prepared for them on Friday?
We can't. There's no breaks in this season. They won the private league division, and they're the state champions of South Carolina and Georgia. So we have a tough competition up there in Pigeon Forge, and we got to keep our minds and our bodies mentally and physically ready for the game. So just getting a little rest, not too much, and then getting up shots on these off days, and then watching a little film with the team and getting back ready to go.
And Adrian, I know you're going to wake up come Thursday morning and Santa's going to bring you something, probably new basketball, maybe some new Jordans, whatever, some KDs, whatever you're really into. I like KDs, but yeah, but I know on Friday you're going to want one more present. You're going to want to beat a private school state champion. What are you going to have to do now? What is your teammates going to have to do to get to that point?
We still have to stay together as a team. We have to work together as a team. And what is going to help us with that is defense. Offense comes, so we have to help on defense.
Well, like you heard it from Javon Craig, junior forward, Adrian Harris, junior shooting guard forward, does it all. They both do it all for their team, scrapping on the floor. But they were crowned champions here tonight of the EPB Fiber Optics Hoop Classic right before Christmas. We wish everybody in the McCauley family Merry Christmas. Both y'all, Merry Christmas. I'm John Neal reporting for River City Sports. With me is Adrian Thomas and Javon Craig, our players of the game.
And we welcome you, ladies and gentlemen, to our post-game coverage coming to you from Hickson High School, the EPB Fiber Optics Holiday Tournament of Champions, Shenanigans, Bonanza, whatever you want to call it. There's too many names to name here. With you, I'm Taylor Ellis. This is John Neal. We're here for you for River City Sports, and got a couple of good matchups to talk to you about, both the boys and the girls, both sides of things tonight. Championship basketball, John Neal. What are your overall impressions from tonight's pair of games that we saw?
Well, I did hear Coach Smith of Hickson, the girls' coach here. He said we have great competition. I didn't get to see all the games, but I saw the championship games, and yes, both championship games played up to par. I mean, they were what you expected, a heated game in the men's, and not really a lopsided effort. We'll talk about it in a second, but Heritage coming out with the win in unquestionable fashion,
Sure.
And but the great atmosphere here. They're really courteous. Had us a table set up, had a whole media table set up, and just an overall well-ran tournament, I think.
The only thing maybe we could say a little bit negative about the tournament is it was a little bit hot in here, but they opened the doors later in the evening, got things cooled off. But an action-packed game, both on the girls and the boys' side. We'll kind of key into it on the girls here. The Heritage Lady Mountaineers out of Maryville, Tennessee, faced off tonight against the GPS Bruisers and really put on a showing against kind of an undermatched GPS team. Finished the game winning 78-57 on a tremendous individual performance by Leah Thomas, 23 points, many from beyond the arc, but also Cassie Knight for the Lady Mountaineers, 19, Maddie Sutton, 15, and it was too much for GPS in the early going.
Yeah, and I mean, GPS got out to a quick start, 16-8 lead there in the first quarter. Akia Harris went out with a high ankle sprain, and when that happened, the Lady Mountaineers went to strike. They pressured, a freshman in a freshman point guard there for GPS coming in to replace Akia Harris, and the Mountaineers never looked back. Like you said, Leah Thomas got going from behind the arc, hitting 6 tonight, and man, did they get going. He spoke with someone close to the program after this, their scorekeeper actually. He said she always shoots like that, and what a game she had, scoring 23. And another name that I really like is Maddie Sutton.
Yeah.
I mean, hadn't seen the Mountaineers at all. She likes to finish around the rim, so all credit to the Lady Mountaineers. But on GPS side, it's kind of the same thing we're going to talk about the boys. For GPS, they're a little unmanned roster-wise. They dressed 8, a 2-to-1 ratio there for the Lady Mountaineers. Yep. They played a lot of bodies. Yep. When the Kia Harris went down, that fatigue got to them, and just not being able to have the legs to contend late in the game kind of plagued the Lady Bruisers and led to that big 78-57 win for the Lady Mountaineers.
And Brooke McCurdy did get things going late in the game for GPS, hit a couple of big threes late in the game, but at that point it was just too much. As you kind of keyed on it, when Akia Harris goes down, Heritage kind of seizes that opportunity, knows that GPS is maybe hurting a little bit, gets full rotation as far as their bench, played 15, 16 girls tonight. Everybody contributing, getting a very good win, convincing fashion, knocking off GPS, which is one of the better girls teams in the area, in convincing fashion, 78-57.
I would even go to a stretch to say that's a key win.
Yeah.
When you go and looking at the Lady Mountaineers' schedule, that's a key win for them. The Lady Bruisers are a very talented team, knocking off Notre Dame twice. Yes, they lost to Ray County. Yes, they lost to Ensworth. But of those 3 losses, that's pretty good. GPS is a very good team for only having 8 players, and Akia Harris is one of those top performers that can create her own shot, get to the bucket, and also dish to teammates, and also is kind of their emotional leader. She went down. You could tell there's a little, hanging the heads a little bit just because they don't have that player.
They don't have that spark.
And just like we're about to get to with the Central boys, you lose that spark, and it leads to a big run, and that's what the Lady Mountaineers were able to capitalize on.
That's a great segue right there, John Neal. Let's go ahead and segue into the boys here. A great matchup. Macaulay Blue Tornadoes taking on the Central Purple Pounders. Both teams high-flying, great action. Macaulay is going to run away with the win here, finishing Central off 67-54 off some great performances by Javon Craig. We said his name all football season, but maybe a new guy that we new to the radar, haven't really said much about him. Adrian Thomas, what can you say about his performance tonight?
Well, Adrian Thomas is just your all-around player. interviewed before this. He was talking about getting teammates involved. Defense, offense will come, and that playing that rotation, playing that high-octane defense, it kind of almost looks like what Bruce Pearl used to run there for Tennessee back before he, NCAA investigations and now is at Auburn. But whenever they were to get going and you pressure some people, and that led to great offense for McCauley, and they got the win tonight. But I like Adrian Harris's game. He looks to dish the ball, and then he looks to score. So he's a passer first, scorer second. That's what Shulman's system is all about. Multiple passes and wearing down teams that leads to victories like this, and 12-0 starts.
Adrian Thomas is going to finish the night leading in scoring for McCauley. He finished with 16. Javon Craig adding 12 points to that, many from beyond the arc. But for me personally, it's the McCauley defense that really stands out in my mind. After many made shots, free throws, especially McCauley in a full court press, really limiting the good looks that Central has and really the good passing opportunities. Now, that being said, they did get away with a few of them, a big dunk down here on the other end of Ryan Montgomery, and we'll kind of key on his play. But, McCauley's defense, they played a lot of guys, had a lot of energy coming off the bench, and you could really see in this matchup.
Yes. I'm going to keep tabbing at it, and it might be a hashtag. You might want to run with it, but it's the McCauley militia. He moves them in by platoons or squad fire team wedges. I got a little bit of a military background. We can talk about that on a later date.
That's another show.
That's another show. But, man, Shulman moving in guys, getting fresh legs, and they all play like they're all aggressive. They're all around. They're ticky-tacking. They're getting in ball carriers' ways. And, that just added pressure all night for Central, just wore them down because, Central and Rick Rogers, they are injury plagued. They're missing 5 guys right now, and still being able to play at this caliber basketball. Man, they're special. All hats off to Central, but I think the turning point in the game, I said at 4:54, if you were listening live from us, is Ryan Montgomery went up with 4 fouls. Some questionable. I'm not going to lie, folks. There were a little couple questionable calls tonight, but we don't want to blame anything on the refs because McCauley had a great game. There were some questionable. That last one that Montgomery fouled out at 4:59, it left in the game, kind of was the deflating factor there as McCauley outscored the Central Pounders 19-6 in the fourth quarter and was able to go on and win this game because, man, you take out Montgomery, and we know what Montgomery can give you. And that's kind of was the blow that McCauley, the last blow they needed because they're getting in bodies. Jermichael Poole was in foul trouble. Trey Tiller was in foul trouble. Brian Billingsley couldn't, catch a break. Kevin McKenzie comes in, tries to set a screen. He couldn't get a break. There were multiple charges set. Another great thing for McCauley, setting charges on the defensive side. You don't see that. It's old school basketball. We love it.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, Montgomery gets in foul trouble. It's good to see Trey Tiller back, but he's struggling with fouls as well. Wasn't his normal self late in the game. Started hot for the Central Purple Pounders, but then you have, Brian Billingsley coming in, can't get anything going. Kevin McKenzie coming in, he's on a bum leg and still trying to play. It was not Central's night, but they still kept it close. Up until the fourth quarter, Central was neck and neck. I think it was tied 49 all going into the fourth. And Central, Coach Rick Rogers, all the credit to those guys. With bum players, with players playing on one wheel, with, the disciplinary actions and everything that they've faced in the early going, they're still playing really good basketball against a very quality opponent in McCall.
Yeah, and we'll give you a little mailbag real quick before we get out of here. Christmas presents for both of them. Since Christmas is up, we wish anyone who's listening to this, any of our falls, a Merry Christmas. Remember, we are celebrating something bigger than ourselves with Christmas. Give back, folks. It's not about me, and Christmas is about them, and that's what we try to bring here in the area. We're still here, and we don't even care, right? But a Christmas present. A completely healthy team for Rick Rogers. That's what he's really wishing Santa for. Yeah. And for McCauley to continue to buy into the system. Yeah. You have players buying in. They are going to be off 2 days before they go up to
Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg.
Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg to play Augustus Christian, private school champions. And that for McCauley is to continue to buy in. That is what John Shulman really wants the Blue Tornadoes, his present for Christmas. But, as we go out, the Lady Mountaineers of Heritage High School claim the EPB Fiber Optics women's side of the championship game, and the McCauley Blue Tornado takes the men's championship in a convincing fashion, 67-54, with them starting 12-0. Likely a little bit of a showdown coming soon with Hamilton Heights. That's one to watch. We'll be there. This is John Neal. With me is Taylor Ellis. We wish you a Merry Christmas.